What's happening?
Oh, just living the dream.
All right. Yeah, I would say I'm about doing that myself.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you got going on over there?
Well, hey, cowboy. Man, I should go find some kind of a cool hat. Should I find a cool hat? I got some good hats here. Hold on a second. How about that? You like that? Look at this
What
thing.
is that, Shika?
No, hell, there's actually a good story behind this hat. This hat here, well, we're live, so we might as well say good evening to everybody.
Howdy.
Howdy, everyone. Breedinum Radio, Week 3, Pert Near Outdoors podcast. Thanks for joining us. Big Willie here, I call myself, I'm trying to be
You
Big
ain't no
Willie.
Big Willie.
I'm Little Willie.
Little Willie.
Little Willie.
Slick Willie.
Slick Willie, and Big Jim. On the mic, here we are your hosts this evening. We've got a couple guests planned to come on. One is a lock. Just had a note come in from one of our guests, Kevin Collins. He had some family stuff pop up, which we fully understand. So we will have Carter Mann getting on here to tell the story about his New York youth hunt buck he shot last weekend. So we're excited to share that story. And then kind of get into a little bit of just BSing, talking about what the upcoming weekend looks like. Big Jim's got a big hunt planned up north in the Adirondacks for the muzzleloader weekend. So I know you're excited about that. So
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
God willing.
Oh, that you're going to actually be able to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll be all right. But yeah, it's been a real rodeo here the last 6 days. 6 days, I'd say.
Yeah, I think we're living a fairly similar. I guess almost everybody I've talked to that has kids right now, it's been an absolute free for all with the just health, and everybody's sick, and it just keeps happening. And then it's like a revolving cycle. So it's like, oh, we're done with hand, foot, and mouth. Let's move on to the stomach bug. This should be fun. And
we just knocked two of the big ones right out. So
did you?
Yeah, we got the hand, foot, and mouth, and then the old RSV. So,
you got RSV.
Get it right out of the way.
Nice, that's big. So now you got some natural immunity.
Is all it's left,
right? You know? Natural immunities, man. You're set. You are set.
I mean, he's handling it well. So
yeah,
fingers crossed. You know, I mean, he was rough yesterday and this morning, and then he took a good long nap. He seems a little better tonight. So
that'll do it. Yeah, it's I was daddy daycaring today. That whole navigating, working from home, wiping butts, handling emails. Oh, we got
Speaking of wiping butts,
we've moved along. What's up, guys? I'm going to promote you so you can talk.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
How we doing?
The man.
Not bad. How's it going?
Not too bad.
We're better that you here. We were lonely.
Yeah, you guys were doing all right. I love the hats, by the way.
Yeah. So actually,
we're babbling on about personal shit that nobody cares about.
I don't know.
Oh, nice.
I think
that happens.
I think people care about that. I think that's what people want. Nobody's told me that's what they don't want, so I'm assuming that's what they want. So fun story.
I would rather have real life stuff.
Yeah, it's real. That's what people want. They want the real stuff. This hat, I got to tell this hat story real quick. I
hope it was free.
It was free. But
right,
dude, so Jamey probably actually knows maybe of the guy that the woman that lives like kitty corner from Scott, across the road, up on the hill, not that huge house in the back, but the house that's kind of like maybe 200 feet off the road. Her driveway goes uphill a little bit. It's like a brush lot that her house is set into.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I know we were talking.
So her lawnmower was stuck like maybe 4 years ago in the spring. And my neighbor's good friends with her. She came over and said, "Hey, you have a 4-wheeler. Can you come over here and help us?" So I rode my 4-wheeler over there from my house, winched her out. Was this, just saved the day. It was brand new lawnmower. She was heartbroken. Just winched her right out of there. And we're now friends. And her husband had passed away a few years ago, and she gave me all of his old hunting gear. So I have like all this badass, like 1980s Cabela's wool. Like I donated a bunch of it. I gave some of it to some of my friends that are new hunters, but I kept this hat. I don't know when I'll ever wear it, but it's got this sweet face mask I can pull over the front. It's a little short brim so it doesn't get in the way of my scope and my bow drawn. So yeah, that's my hat story.
I give it a 10 for style for sure.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Definitely better than Jimmy's dumbass hat. That thing's
I've been moving this thing around shelf to shelf for about 2 years, so
yeah,
I figured we'll find a use for it on the podcast.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we got you guys on here. We're gonna jump right into the story. I figure we'll spend 15 or 20 minutes covering the story, whatever it takes. But you guys have been on the podcast before. Jamey, you and the guys are. You and Scott and the Murrays, the whole family there are the Hunters Creek Outdoors gang. So thank you guys for jumping on here to share your story tonight.
Thanks for having us, guys. We appreciate it, man. It's awesome always.
Carter, how are you, buddy?
Good.
Is all that tenderloin gone yet, or what?
Not yet.
Ooh. Not yet. It ain't long for the world. I know that.
No. Yeah, if I know your dad, he'll be wrapping jalapeno and bacon around it. I'm thinking is what's coming with that.
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't? Bacon is about as American as it gets. I mean, it just, venison, bacon, a pepper, they go together, guys. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
we all like to eat.
It's almost like apple pie or peanut butter and jelly.
It's hard to argue.
It is. There's no grounds for argument here. So let's I guess start us off, Jamey and Carter. Tell us your story. I know that last year we had John and Carter shot a doe last year with his bow. I think, was that your first deer last year, Carter?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So
he started off, ended up shooting a button buck for his first deer, shot a doe, also with his bow about a week later. And, we just didn't catch up to any bucks or whatever. So he really had his heart set up. Your kid wanted to shoot a buck. What can I tell you? He was gung ho to shoot a buck, and I mean, obviously, when all the talk about lowering the age to the 12 to 13-year-olds, I mean, what a great opportunity it is, for the youth weekend. So we kind of had this weekend circled on the map and took advantage of it. I mean, obviously, I don't want to go on a negative route. I mean, obviously, I'm not happy with what happened with Erie County, but it is what it is.
We'll talk about that after.
Yeah, exactly.
Another topic.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. No, we're fortunate enough that, we got the lease in Wyoming County. We got the land in Chautauqua County. So we had other places to go. I know not everybody probably is in that situation, but we made the best of it, and, clearly it worked out. So it was awesome.
So did that decision for Erie County, did that affect the youth hunt as well?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that only affected during gun season.
No.
Really? So that was the youth hunt as well.
Yeah. So it was tough. I mean, you put yourself in a position where, say if you're a family that's you got limited time or whatever, you go out and buy the kid a license, thinking like, the legislature's passed it, or voted in favor of it. Go out and get your license, and all of a sudden, boom, it goes the opposite direction. I mean, you're kind of, if you don't have another place to go, you're kind of shafted. So I feel bad for the kids that it affected. And I'm sure it affected somebody. It's a downer that it had to affect a kid.
Yeah.
That's what's.
Yeah. And
I mean, if this stuff was around when I was a kid, I would have loved it. I mean, I caught like the last couple of years of the youth turkey hunt, but they didn't have any of this youth deer hunt stuff when I was a kid. And, even lowering the age limit now, which most counties took there. And I just think it's a great thing to get you going because, I mean, I was ready at that age like Carter. I mean, I was right by my dad's side all the time, just ready to go. And I think when you grow up like that, I don't think 12 is an unreasonable age.
No, for sure. And I'll kind of, in case I get off topic or forget, kind of remind me of that when I'm telling the story. Cause, you know, obviously we've been going out of state turkey hunting for a while. So it's, you know, he knows what's going on. And I guess I'll be the first to admit, you know, I folded under pressure folded like a lawn chair. I mean, it was bad. The kid over here is cool as a cucumber. I not so much. And you know, it is what it is. But I'll show you where I messed up in the story when we're talking about it. But it was awesome though. I had a great time. That's all I'm gonna say. It was fun.
So let's dive right into it. So set the stage. It was this weekend was the youth hunt weekend here in New York, in certain counties, apparently in every county except for Erie County.
Yeah, leave it at that.
Every county but Erie County. But yeah, so we like I said, we got a lease property over in Wyoming County, I'll tell you, it's over in Colesville. I mean, it's nice. You know, kind of getting it set up. We've killed some nice deer over the last few years there. You know, during the archery season. So it's nice. We got just under 2 acres of clover over there, a nice clover plot. Access there's 2 ways to get in. I think it's 125 acres. You know, you're basically either coming in from the north or coming in from the south. And it was windy, southeast forecasted pretty much Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday, it was kind of funny. You know, he's a kid, so you know I'm trying to teach him something every time that we're going. You know, why we're doing what we're doing. So, like I said, we either park at the north end, we park at the south end, and go in. So the setting the stage, wind's blowing out of the south, so we park at my in-laws' house, and it's a longer walk. You know, and you know I'm not gonna lie, we're carrying all kinds of gear. You know, you got to sit on the ground. So, you know, we took some chairs and, you know, trigger stick and all kinds of stuff. I had to look like a walking garage sale, you know, heading back, you know, and he looks over at me and he was like, "Why are we going the long way?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to tell you why we're going the long way." You know, we got the wind in our face the whole way. And, you know, it's probably twice as far of a walk, but make a long story short, when we're looking at this clover field, you know, there's a big pine tree that's set up on the north end of it. And me and Scott were over there, you know, tightening up some tree stands and stuff. And I said, "Hey, you know, I got this on the radar, you know," and I'm like, "I want to howl out a spot," because there's a lot of pricker bushes around the base of this tree. I said, "You know, I just want to get in there, cut a few lanes so me and Carter can sit right in there, you know, and it should be, as long as we get a good wind, you know, it'll be a good spot, you know, blah, blah, blah. We can overlook that field." So we walked a long way in. As you're sitting there underneath that tree and you're looking to the south, you're looking at the clover field, but behind the clover field is probably 10 acres of some of the thickest, nastiest brush that's around. You know, it's clearly where the bedding is. So, you know, we're always going to have the wind in our favor then at that point. And that was, you know, kind of the reason. Now, obviously he's asking because it's a long walk, but I'm telling him why we're doing it. Because if we come in from the other way, our wind blows right into that bedding area. We have to loop around. And so they already know that we're there. So that was pretty much the set. Saturday, very uneventful. You know, nothing really happening. We didn't see any deer. We did have a flock of 12 birds come in. Turkeys walked right in front of us, 10 yards away. I kind of laughed at it, really, because we both have orange vests on. You know, we're tucked in there pretty good, but, you know, you got a blaze orange vest on, you know, and they're at 10 yards. They look at us. They're kind of looking around. They feed out in the plot. They come right back in again to 10 yards. You know, you guys know in May at, you know, 200 yards, you move your hand like a quarter of an inch and they're running into the next county. You know, right. I'm like, what the heck? This is crazy. But, so yeah, nothing. I was kind of surprised. I mean, it was warm. I get it. But with the clover plot looking as good as it was, I was shocked that nothing walked in. So, you know, it is what it is. We left Sunday. We did the same thing, same long walk. Got back in, got set up. No turkeys this time. Again, same thing. Kind of nothing. Again, surprising. And then, you know, like any 13-year-old kid, he's kind of getting a little fidgety. And, you know, and I remember looking up the, you know, sunset for Colesville, and it was 6:39, and it was like 6:30 at that point. And I said, "Well," I go, "Dude, you know, sit still, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in the next, you know, 15 minutes or so." And that's pretty much how it did. It was probably right around sunset, right around 6:40ish. I just remember glassing, kind of back up just a second, like half the clover was last mowed about a month ago. The other half didn't get mowed, ran out of time. So it had some taller, like white grass in it, but loaded with clover, so nothing to be concerned about. I see out in that white grass, I just catch a little bit of movement and put the binoculars up, and I could really just see like the back of a deer walking. Came right out of the brush, right where we thought, in that corner of the field, and it's actually going to walk, kind of broadside right to us. And again, don't know what it is. I know it's a deer. I just don't know what it is at this point. So I tell him, I said, "Hey, dude, there's a deer here. Get ready." He was kind of getting his stuff together or whatever. And then it picked up its head, and I seen the 3 points on the one side, and this is hilarious. I was dying laughing. I go, dude, it's a buck, I go, it's a buck. And I go, it's a pretty good buck too. I go, you want to shoot, cause I'm always going to let him make his decisions. Whether I didn't care if it's a spike or a 10 point, whatever. You want to shoot? He doesn't say a word. I was like, do you want to shoot? He doesn't say anything. And I hear the safety click off. And I was like, I guess it's go time. I guess it's a yes. So we're going here. So it was funny. What did you think? When you first saw the antlers? What did you think?
I got super nervous. My heart was racing a bit. I wasn't really expecting it at the time, but I was ready for it.
I wasn't ready for it. I'll just say.
Dad's like, what do I do? Do I just let him go, or do I, Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what happened. So the deer, I can see he's going to walk right to the cut clover. I'm like, this is going to be perfect, and he was moving pretty cautious. Like he would, take a couple mouthfuls, his head would come up, he'd scan the whole field, he's looking at everything. And I just wanted him to get out of that. There's some, like I said, they got some of that grass. I just wanted to get out of that grass. And now he walks walks into the plot. It's perfect. Broadside. I tell the buster, I was like, dude, I go, just take your time. I go, wait for him to stop. He's not going anywhere. He's there chilling, just take your time. So, he steps out and he's broadside. And I was like, I told him at the beginning, I was like, he'd never shot the gun before. But he shot a turkey gun and shot my muzzleloader a few times. So I wasn't concerned too much. I said, just put the crosshairs right on the buck's shoulders, put it right on the front shoulder and just squeeze, just like you would if you're shooting a turkey. So steps out, broadside, take your time, just take a couple steps, just wait for him to stop. Right when he just, I think he's stopped, he just takes a couple more steps. And then he stops, and I'm just like, because I said, I go, take your time, just, put it on the front shoulder and squeeze. Well, it seemed like eternity. I'm sure it was probably like 3 or 4 seconds when I go back and look at the video. Here's me telling him to take his time. And then there's me also nervous because he's taking his time. I'm like, what is he waiting for? Like I turned my head to see if he was all right, like if there was something wrong. And right when I turned my head, I have to say I was videoing. And I moved the camera off the deer because I turned my head.
Oh, no.
Right when he shot. Boom, and I was like, what the heck, like what, And so he takes a shot. Deer jumps straight in the air, like all fours straight up. And I've seen a lot of deer get whacked, but I've never seen this. It was weird. The deer goes straight up. A lot of times you'll get the mule kick or whatever. All 4 legs, boom, off the ground. I'm telling you guys, that deer hit the ground. He was doing 100 miles an hour, like just Mach 1 running straight into the woods. Like I look quick, tail's tucked, underneath his sack, he's got that tail tucked between his legs and he is just hauling the mail, goes booking into the woods, crash, and then there's a little silence. And then I hear it again, crash, but it sounded like it was like another 100 yards up in the woods. I was like a little bit concerned, but, not really concerned because I've seen the deer's reaction. I was like, oh man, he KO'd this thing, is what I thought. And I thought I was shaking before. Thank God I screwed the video up because I was shaking so bad after that. It was crazy. I know you were shaking. He's pretty cool under the pressure, but even you were he was babbling and slurring some words. He was pretty pumped up. So it was awesome.
It's fantastic.
Normally I'm good till about 10 seconds after the shot, and then I lose it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I'm usually pretty good up until, and then, you know, after the shot and the silence, all of a sudden I start shaking uncontrollable. Like I'm a mess at that point.
What were you shooting?
308, Savage 308.
Hot damn. Yeah, no wonder that deer was running like he was shot with a bolt of lightning.
Well, it just, I mean, he just, dude, I'm like, oh my God, like he's going to run straight into a tree. Like he is just motoring and just, I mean, obviously he did with the crash that, you know, the crash that we heard. I mean, he obviously ran into something. So it was big time. Well, of course, you know, typical, and this obviously all falls on me. Typical dad, kind of, we'll say unprepared, but pretty much unprepared. No flashlight. You know, we're talking on the camera a little bit, you know, so we want to give the deer a few minutes to expire, you know, just in case. I don't know what's, you know, I'm a knucklehead. So we go out there, and the buster here, he's got the gun over his shoulder and he's ready to rock. Like, he's like, let's go. You're like, all right, put the camera down, dude. Let's go look for this deer. Let's go get the blood and whatever. So we go out there, no flashlights, you know, we're using the phones, can't find any blood. So now I start to get nervous, you know, and I'm like, oh no, this is not good. I'm thinking to myself, replaying in my mind, I'm like, a deer is not reacting. If he misses the deer, it's either probably going to stand there or it's just going to like lope away, tail up or something. It's not going to go out of there like a freight train like this thing. So I'm like, we just clearly were in the wrong spot. But the panic starts to come in, you know, like I start to doubt myself. I start calling. I'm on the phone. I got Scotty on the line. He's got people coming over to dinner because it's Sunday night, the Bills game, you know, they got company coming. So I'm like, he goes, see if you can get Dougie, you know, try to get Dougie. I was like, where are you, man? He goes, oh, just
call the dogs in.
I'm like, oh no, Doug's not there. I'm like, oh, but we got no four-wheeler. I mean, it's just, dude, it's a typical Jamey man, you know, from the get-go. It was, I'll say this, it was hilarious. Get done talking to Scott, can't find any blood. He's like, just go into the woods and look around a little bit when you're talking, you know, and try to get a hold of Doug. So I'm talking to Doug on the phone. You know, he was like, I'll come back and get you some flashlights. I'm like, dude, I can walk back to the house and get some flashlights. Don't worry about it, you know? So I'm telling him the story as I'm kind of walking around blindly. Now it's got to be 20 after 7, and it's dark at that point. And I got the flashlight going on my phone. And he's like, you sure you don't want me to get some flashlights? I'm like, nope, because I just found it. I literally just walked and the deer was laying right there. Like, it was the stupidest thing ever. Didn't follow any blood. We just stumbled on it 15 yards inside the woods. So he must have went in there, crashed, probably paused and then thrashed around, just made it sound like it was further than what it was. But, you know, then kind of obviously, you know, he was looking about 60 yards away and I yelled over. I was like, I got it. Well, you know, I always joke, you know, he's not usually the quickest kid, you know, he's got his own speed where, you know, but I'll tell you what, he was hauling the mail as fast as that deer when I said I found it.
There was shit crashing and logs breaking.
It sounded just like the deer going into the woods. He was on his way, but
yeah. Carter, what'd you think about your dad coming unglued and, you know, forgetting everything he knows about deer hunting? What'd you think about that?
Yeah, I got a little nervous.
Talk louder. He said he was nervous, but
yeah.
Obviously it's always a comedy act. I mean, obviously we try to have fun and not get anything too serious or whatever. But
that's what it's all about. That's why I love the stories about, you know, especially your first few deer, and that's what's so cool about this youth season is that it's with a mentor, you know, whoever that is, it's with someone. You know, I think I don't know about you, Jim, but my first deer I was alone. I was alone, and that experience was on my own. Like, I didn't have somebody sitting there with me coaching me through the situation, and especially my father or my grandfather and uncle or whatever. So it's super cool with this youth hunt that you are able to go through that experience with someone who you know, whether it's you just know them or it's your father or whatever. Like, that's a really cool experience to have.
Oh, no doubt.
I think when they leave it till the 14-year age, I think by the time you're 14, you're, you know, getting to the point where you've been doing it long enough that, you know, you're not too bad to be sitting in a ladder stand while dad goes off 100 yards away, you know. you know, when you're 12 and you have to have that mentor with you, I think that's a big difference.
I mean, I'll say just from my own personal experience, I shot my first deer, but now kind of showing my age because you had to be 16 back when I was, I had to wait till 16 to hunt. But we, you know, hunting with my dad, you know, we weren't sitting together. I mean, he was down in the woods and I was, you know, getting my own spot. And I'm going to tell you what, I know it was the second day of the season. I remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, I don't know the exact year, but I was younger and, you know, 17, probably 18 years old. I seen 20 deer the day before. Not one of them was a buck. Went back to the same spot, and here come a couple deer up out. And I was like, you know, I seen them at probably 150 yards, and all of a sudden now they're at like 40. And I'm like, oh my God, that one's got antlers, you know, and my mindset was went complete 180. Like, I'm sporting the old, you know, Remington 870 pump smooth bore, and start throwing the old Remington lead like it's going out of style. I think I gut shot the thing 3 times. Yeah, hit it once in the neck. Like, I mean, what an advantage would have been to have like my dad sitting next to me and was like, dude, relax, you know, wait for it to stop. And then, you know, I just seen antlers and I started shooting. I mean, it was crazy.
Dude, 100%. I mean, that story is a mirror image of my first deer. I was out of bullets. I shot every bullet I carried with me. They had to bring me more, and then I finally hit one. And like that's a perfect example of why it is so good and why it is so sad that the decision was made that it was for Erie County. You know, one of the heaviest populated counties in the state, and you know, one of the heaviest outdoor enthusiast counties in the state. That, you know, they're taking that opportunity away, because when you are, you know, 16 years old, sitting in a tree stand by yourself, getting a first chance, you know, you are still immature. Like, you are not any different than a 14 or 15-year-old, and having a mentor there with you in those earlier years, getting those experiences. I mean, I think that's why Jimmy was naturally so much further ahead than I was hunting wise, because he hunted and spent so much more time with dad in those early, you know, that 10, 11, 12 up through school age. Like, Jimmy spent way more time with dad, as, you know, in a mentor type situation, and killed a ton of stuff because he was doing it with somebody who knew what they were doing. And it's just super sad to me that decisions like that are getting made over, you know, controversial political things, and not what is actually for the good and what the constituents want to help what we do in hunting and outdoor lifestyle. So
I agree 100%. And the thing that kind of gets me, at least in this situation, that got me, and I'm not going to lie, I was pretty fired up about it. I was a little bit hot because, and now granted, I know not every kid is going out of state, and, you know, and I know he's been around guns for quite some time now. My thing was really, he's, you know, at 12 years old, he's able to shoot his first turkey here in New York. Now, granted, I know in Erie County, obviously we can't use the rifle, but so, you know, he's got it. I got him an 870 youth combo, just like pretty much everybody probably had or starts with or whatever.
Still do.
But yet, yeah, and still do. Like, I take the barrel off. I put the you know, the slug barrel on, and, you know, the argument is about the, you know, the guns or whatever. I'm like, look at, you know, the kid can. So you're telling me, and this is kind of the way I put it. I'm like, so you're telling me, you know, my son can't hunt deer with the same gun that he's allowed to hunt turkeys with, because we live in Erie County, where, you know, on my own private property where I pay the county tax. I'm like, this is just absurd to me. I was just blown away.
And you literally live 2 miles from the Wyoming County line, and you could drive over the hill and you could hunt there. It just, you know, and I think that is just a snippet of the world we live in today, where there's so much stuff that's being like just being forced and mandated. None of this stuff is political, but just take a step back and think about it. It's like, does any of this make any sense? It doesn't make sense. You know, we are one of the few states in the country that all these things that were changed in the deer plan, now they're finally allowed. And it's like, and then you still have this. And that's what concerns me about this late season, is that look at what happens when you allow counties to opt in or opt out. It's like, you know, now you've got the opportunity for a politician who doesn't like something, can just say, no, we're not going to do it. You know, it's not what we want to do.
Well, and that was kind of the point that I made. I was like, I'm not going to, it was probably on a DEC poll. It was somewhere. And I said, you have a guy that's making the decision who lives in a no hunting zone. And
Right.
I'm like, I'm still frustrated, but I mean, I shouldn't be. I should be. I should be frustrated because I don't like the way that this is happening, because there's kids that are being affected. There's no doubt about it. He's going to turn 14 in February, so it's kind of going to be a moot point for me for next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't take that approach, only because there's other kids that are losing out, and they shouldn't be losing out. Like it's not like you're just turning the kid loose at 12 years old. Like you have a seasoned hunter sitting next to him, basically walking him through what he should or shouldn't do or whatever to avoid the mistake. And this is where I'll hop in for what we were kind of talking about before. Like my mistake. And again, I know it's, not about the video. And I guess to me on my own level, it's a mistake for me for video wise. And again, I don't want to downplay, because this is not about the video. This is all about the first buck and the fun and the experience and everything. But secondary, my mistake is, he's been shooting turkeys. I think we started going to Tennessee when he was 7. So, I mean,
Right.
he's been, you know what I mean? Like he's been around guns and making shots and like I shouldn't even have let that creep into my mind. Like what's wrong? Like just because he's taking his time, exactly what I told him to do. See, he did exactly what I told him to do. And then I got nervous and moved, and I should have known. I'm like, obviously in the heat of the moment, the excitement, my heart's pounding. I mean, his heart's pounding. I just wish I would have thought to myself, like, God, if he does everything that I've taught him, we're good.
Yeah.
And guess what? We were good. The deer was 80 yards, and when I flipped it over and, helped him gut it or whatever, the kid blew the deer's heart in half. Like he just.
Nice job, Carter. That's awesome.
Good stuff.
It was a lot of fun, guys. It was probably, I think I said it last year when he shot his deer with his bow, and I was like, man, this is one of the best days of my life or whatever. This was right there, man. It was a good hunt. It was fun. We only saw one deer, but
it's all that matters.
That we saw the right one.
Tenderloins.
That was it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Loins, baby.
Yeah,
Loins.
and that's the last year of your opportunity to hunt that hunt, and Carter, and you fulfilled a first time buck tag. Like that's fantastic, and we're all super proud of you. I know everybody listening to this is super proud of you, and you should be very proud of yourself for making a good, clean kill on your first buck, because that is not easy to do, and there's a lot of nerves and a lot of anxiousness that goes along with that. So bravo, buddy. That's fantastic. I love the story.
It was a blast. It was a blast. We learned a few things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great stuff just to see that. Like, I don't know, just sitting here watching this makes me think back to all the times I had when I was a youth, and, just living for this stuff. So I know what Carter's feeling, and it's awesome that you guys got to get it done, and awesome that there was a special season to do it in.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I was so thankful, obviously, again, didn't, had to go to a different property, but that's still, don't want to let it diminish from the fun, because it was awesome. He got to learn a little bit about why we walked in the way we did, why, like I said, always trying to, at some point he's going to be setting up these tree stands himself. And I, just try to always tell him, you always want the wind in your face, you want to have yourself, you always want to be downwind or wherever you want the deer to be. And, we try to use it as a learning tool, but, hopefully he's storing some of this in the back of his mind.
Yes, and he'll be teaching you in a couple of years there, sir.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope he can teach me some of that patience that he has. He's pretty calm. Like I'm horrible. Holy smokes.
Listen,
so
that'll go away. You'll go through puberty, and you will start having hormones, and next thing you know, you will be freaking out about everything, and you'll be wondering about everything. Enjoy youth, man, because youth is easy. You're living the dream. So, all right, we got we got John Peterson on the line, who's going to jump on and tell us a story about his buck he whacked. So,
yeah, I saw that. Dandy buck.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys jumping on, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again this season with another success story. So
let's hope so. Good luck, guys.
Right.
Thanks again for having us.
Congratulations.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you,
John Peterson. We're coming to you. Whacker.
How are you, gentlemen?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Took me a minute to navigate through the Bullhorn app.
Well,
so I apologize for not being on earlier. I was hoping I could get in, talk to Jamey and Carter, and congratulate him on his successful youth hunt.
I'm sure they're listening, so they can hear that. Yeah,
I'm sure they are.
I'm pretty impressed that you figured that out, because that was very last minute. Classic Willie trying to figure this out with you. So well done downloading, signing in, and also navigating to be a co-host. So nice job.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Bill. I did attempt to do it last night. I got it downloaded, but for some reason I had some issues with the app, and I had to uninstall it, reinstall, and then it just popped right up for me. So it was easy after that.
You must be running the same phone as Dallas or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, an S7, so it's pretty modern technology.
Yeah, I would say so. All right, let's get right into it, Johnny. Jimbo, what do you got?
Sure.
You were gonna say something.
No, I wasn't. I was good. I was just trying to take a swig of beer.
Oh, excuse me. I saw your lips moving, but you were just quivering for a sip of blue light.
Just a little thirsty.
So let's just get right into it, Johnny. So a couple of years ago, you shot a beautiful buck, a 10-pointer on Columbus Day. And that was the first year that we were doing the podcast, and we had you on. I think you were one of the first guests to get on and tell a story on here. So pretty cool to get you back on with a story that I hope is very similar to the last one. So let's let her rip.
Cutting out.
Johnny?
You guys still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, yeah.
It's cutting. You're kind of cutting out on me a little bit.
You're cutting out. It's you, not us. We're perfect.
Oh, my apologies. It must be.
Oh, there's a train coming. Watch out. There's a train coming.
I'm going in and out of my neighbor's garage because Wednesday nights are our community service neighborhood watch nights. So we're on guard right now.
Oh, high crime area there in Lancaster, is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's one way that we just, pay back to the community and making it safe, just making sure that we watch everyone go by for the next 2 or 3 hours.
You guys
freezer
strapped up or what?
But no, so you were talking about 2 years ago. I think that was that not the first episode of Breedinum Radio?
It was. We recorded it driving in the truck together down to Russ Morgan's to get your buck scored for the.
To get it scored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really just taught us how to breed them.
Yep.
I guess so. Here we are again. Yeah, same day. That was a Columbus Day buck too, and a 10-point as well. I don't know what it is, man. I wish I had a better story. Like, I've been thinking about this since Monday. It's like, all right, I'm gonna sit down with these guys, and they're gonna ask me about the hunt, and I'd like to give you something that would speak to how somebody else could maybe learn something in their approaches. With your whole, how many listeners we got, Slick?
At the moment, we have 8 people.
8.
So 8,000. Yeah. I meant to say 8,000. Yeah. No, we got 8 people on, but I mean, this is going to reach, the stars once I post
at
on
least
Friday.
Our normal 100.
Yeah.
Hey, last time I listened to you, I think Teeters was like 5 or 6. So hey, we're growing, man.
Yeah, we are growing. Yeah, Teeter's story was kind of weak. I don't know that guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he's
doesn't
not
really seem like he knows what he's doing.
No, he's yeah.
Am I not mistaken? But did he build a ravine or something? Was that his story to get that deer to bed there?
Yeah, he got a bunch of dynamite and dug some holes and just destroyed his property to create a natural ravine.
And then stuck a Serta in there from Sleep Number. And
yeah.
What is that? I'm like, what did he do? That's incredible.
Yeah, that's John Teeter. He works in the middle of the night. Yeah. That's how he kills big bucks. Okay, so when you're sleeping in your bed on your comfy bed next to your wife, he's out there freaking building habitat,
digging holes and ditches.
Yeah. So I'm not going to come close to that with my story. But you know what? I'll say this. Like, my story would be relatable to, you know, that meme from, what's the dude from The Office, the nerd dude? You know what I'm
The
talking
fat
about?
guy,
No.
Kevin,
Oh,
No, not Kevin.
Dwight. Oh, Dwight.
Dwight.
Yeah.
Dwight. You know that meme that's going around with you have your sights on this deer all year and then this guy shoots him? It's Dwight and, like, you know, 100. That was me yesterday. I was that guy because I have not been prepared outside of shooting. I've been shooting a lot, but I have not had cameras out. I have not been scouting. I have not been doing any homework whatsoever. It was so bad to the point where I literally had my family over at my property in Wyoming County. I got this one in Erie County all day. And I might have had a couple bush lattes while we were there. I'm working. It's outside. It's hot and sweaty. I literally ran home, rushed home. I left, Bill, you know where my property is?
Yeah.
I left there 5:15. I left there.
Shut up.
I left there 5:15, rushed home, literally threw on my gear. I mean, dude, I stunk. I stunk. It was terrible. I'm like, Amanda, I'm going out. It's Columbus Day. I have to go out. It's Columbus Day. I ran out there. I had a black shirt on. The shirt in the picture is the shirt that I wore.
Oh my God.
And I had no gloves on. I had no mask on. And I'm like, I just got to get up in the stand. I haven't hunted all year. I just got to get up here. And wouldn't you know, at about 6:45, I hear something coming. And I'm like, it can't be. All of a sudden, he presents himself at like 25 yards. And I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Is this happening again on Columbus Day? I like this. This is not happening. There's no way this is happening again. Doesn't he walk into 10 yards, right underneath my stand to the left? I stop him. Last opportunity, a lot of foliage. And he curls his head to the left and totally covers his vitals with his horns. So I'm at full draw and I got my pins on his horns. And I'm like, man, he is a half a step away from being out of any kind of shooting range. And so I'm like, he turns that head. I just got to let it go because he's going to turn his head and take a step at the same time. And sure enough, he did. And I made sure that I put that pin a little bit closer to his neck because I knew he was going to step. And he turned and I just let it rip. And I saw it bury and I thought it was back a little bit. He was quartering pretty hard at me. And, you know, I knew the shot I thought the shot wasn't great. I thought it wasn't great. And I was just quiet, you know. Watching the hunt in public, guys, I don't get excited now. I just try to stay calm because, well, if you recall, Slick, during the first Breedinum radio, when I was telling you the story about that buck, I gave a little woo, and then another big buck came running out behind him. So I kind of learned my lesson from that.
No more Ric Flairs in the tree.
No more Ric Flairs. Not until the fist pumps come out and the bush lattes. Then we can give plenty of Ric Flairs.
Right.
So I was quiet and I heard him run and then slow down and I heard a little crash. A few minutes later, I heard some kicking and I waited. I mean, I waited a good half hour because I wasn't sure. So I got down, peeled out of there, didn't even look. Good thing is he was close. Like when he crashed, he was really close. I couldn't see him. It's so thick, but he was close. My nephew, Michael, was able to help me. So it was like an hour later, we get out, 0 blood. Not an ounce, not a single ounce of blood anywhere. No arrow, no blood, no nothing. But I knew I punched him. So we started doing circles, and I'm trying to teach Michael how to do it the right way. So it's like little circles, get on the path. We don't find anything. I'm like, I could have gone right to where he crashed and probably found him right away. But, you know, Michael's 14. He's learning. I want to show him how to do it the right way. And then eventually I just went to the crash site, and I almost walked on him when I found him. Literally was probably 3 feet away from him. And he was piled up against a tree. And I didn't know how big he was. I just knew he was wide and heavy. I didn't have pictures of this buck. I had no idea how big he was when I shot him. I just knew he was a shooter by the way he presented himself. He was coming through brush, so his horns were kind of camoed in a little bit. But when I put my hands on him, I'm like, wow, this is not a bad deer. And then Maybe I gave the Ric Flair right after that.
Yeah, I would say that's about the
Yeah.
proper time to do that.
It might have been a mild Ric Flair, but yeah. So we got up to the deer, and there was even no blood. I think the way that it exited, it just must have hit some intestine and plugged it up because there was no blood anywhere. So I was fortunate that I heard him crash and that he was close to me, but I ended up putting it through. I center punched his left lung, hit his heart a little bit, and then I think it went down through the guts a little. But all the blood was inside his cavity. I mean, he had huge clots. I mean, there was a ton of blood inside of him. Just nothing came out. It must have got plugged up.
Wow. That's so same tree stand, right? As the last
stand.
buck? Yeah.
Yep, same stand.
Do you think it's
True,
just
because
dumb? Do you think it's just
got
dumb
that
luck, or
point.
do you think that it's that timing of the year when that stand is just right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there is something about that time that puts deer back there, because I've now killed 3 bucks in that stand on Columbus Day for whatever rhyme or reason. I don't know, but they seem to be traveling through there at that time. And there's been other occasions where I've hunted Columbus Day and had bucks come through, the bucks that I could have shot, but I might have got down or a little bit too early one year. So I can't explain it. And that's the crazy thing about it. When I was sitting there and I saw that deer come in, it was a literally, you gotta be fucking kidding me moment, because I don't know why they're coming through, but they do. If that makes any sense whatsoever, with all of the homework that we do and trying to study deer movement and taking into, barometric pressure and fronts and moons, there's no rhyme or reason. It's not like the day falls on the same day every year either.
No,
I couldn't tell you.
No, it's not. Sometimes it's more close to the 15th or the 18th. Sometimes it's in that range.
What's your setup there?
It's really swampy and extremely thick. It's all the ash back there is dead. There's a few maples. I sit up in a poplar tree, and it's just super thick. I didn't have time to trim lanes this year, and I knew that my opportunities were going to be limited, but there's a lot of intersecting trails right at this point. The furthest I could shoot is maybe 20 yards, and there's only a couple windows. It's really good cover, especially with that poplar tree being full foliage right now. So the deer, I'm camoing in extremely well from just about any angle.
Yeah.
So are you like right on the edge of bedding then?
With it being low brush like that and swamp, there's bedding all around. Sometimes the bed they do bed right there, but most of the time they're to the southeast of me. But you know what? I tried to play the wind as much as possible. Yesterday was just, you know what? I'm going to swing for the fences, because for some reason this day has treated me well. And like I said, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just like I went out there, I did everything wrong. I stunk. I wasn't full camo. I wasn't thinking about the wind or bedding or anything. I'm just like, I need to get in the stand and just sit here for an hour. Whether I see something or not, I just need to sit this stand today.
Yeah.
So are they like coming out of there heading for a field, or are you just kind of all in woods there?
No, there's no fields, unless you consider a playground a field.
Yes, yes, I would say that is a field. It's a different type of field, but yes, it is a field. But that's so Ben Williams. I asked if anybody had any questions for the story or any other topics, and Ben was curious, what type of location for the stand. He's trying to figure the Columbus Day thing out. I think he said, "Is it a high point going through the swamp? Is there any oaks? Is there any oaks in that area? I don't know if there is any oaks. Is there?"
Yes, there are some oaks.
Okay.
But their travel patterns are inconsistent. There are some reds. I guess you could say like where he came from is where I would consider is like the dominant bedding area, which isn't always true. I've had them come from every direction. Every deer that I've killed back there literally has come from a different direction. And I've killed six good bucks out of the stand now, and I never had them come from the same direction twice when I've killed them.
But you're killing him out of that stand, and it sounds like that stand's in an advantageous. You can get in there without disturbing whatever's in that area, so you have a good approach. I think to me, that's one of the hardest parts about like I would love to hunt some spots like that. And that's one of the things I want to work on this winter is find some of those kind of swamp, really nasty, thick areas where I can hunt. But the access for me seems like that's always the biggest challenge is just how do you get into it without making a ton of noise and, bumping whatever's in there.
Almost every time I walk in there, I bump something. I did bump a deer as I walked in that was probably 20 yards from my stand, but that's not uncommon. You just got to hope that something's going to come in that didn't get disturbed when you bumped that deer. I mean, that deer even snorted at me after I got up in my stand, and, this buck still came in, 40 minutes later.
Yeah. I guess
it's not, you can't get in there undetected. It is so thick and nasty, and you're stepping over, under, almost crawling to a point. I mean, it's nasty.
I've definitely hunted a couple spots that are like that with the access where you're going to bump deer no matter what. Just interesting, some of those spots, because it's like that they'll have some deer that are like bedded in there or hanging out in there in the afternoon by the time you come in. And when you bump them off of it, it just seems like you give it a half an hour or so and, deer just start milling about again and start doing their thing. I've tried sneaking in and you still bump deer. So it's like, you're almost better off just walking to your stand like you're out for a hike and getting up there and going to it.
You know what? The walking to your stand like you're out there for a hike is a great point, because whenever I walk to a stand, I keep walking. I don't stop. I don't give them the impression that I'm trying to look at them. Even if something spots me, I just keep moving, and I try to stay at the same pace, because if I think that a deer would be more comfortable in feeling that something is coming in consistent instead of that stop and go. I don't think that puts them on alert as much. If you keep going, they're eventually going to do that run, stop, look, snort, but sometimes you can walk right past them. Sometimes if you stay on a consistent path, they'll do that run, stop, look, and maybe that's all they do. And I've had that happen before. So like when I'm moving into the woods, whether I'm making a lot of noise or not, I just keep moving.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that, if you're on a four-wheeler and you're driving through the woods and a deer's standing there looking at you, if you keep driving, it'll stand there. If you stop and start looking at it, it's going to take off.
Exactly.
Yeah. There was a tip that Jesse St. Pierre, I had him on the podcast back in the winter months with our buddy Andrew Noble, and he helped write a book about suburban whitetail hunting. I'm trying to think of what the name of that book is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But he said one of the things that he's found to be one of the best tactics when you're hunting in especially a suburban area where deer are kind of used to people being around is take a stick and tie it to you and like drag it behind you. And deer will literally just watch you walk by them dragging a stick because they don't understand what the hell is going on. But then another point I want to point out to that is a huge thing, John. I think that's a takeaway from your story is like, if I was to bump a deer going in right now, you automatically go down in the dumps. Like you think your hunt's blown and you only had basically an hour to hunt. You wanted to get in there. You didn't have everything in your favor as far as being prepared, but you went for it. You bumped a deer, you stuck with it. And next thing you know, you got a buck coming into you. So it's like, don't give up on the hunt. And I think a lot of times when those deer are blowing at you, it's because they don't know what you are. If they got your wind, typically they're gone. Like they're if you bump them because they heard you, but they couldn't smell you, I feel like a lot of times you're not out of the game yet.
I mean, we've been moving tree stands in October before and kicked a rock on a side hill and have it go bouncing down the hill. And 2 minutes later, you got a buck coming in trying to see what was running around on the side hill. So, I mean, they're curious about the noise. As long as you don't make it obvious that it's human traffic, as long as you're not sitting there talking to a buddy or, talking on your cell phone or doing, if you're with another person in the woods, as long as you keep your voices down and, as long as you're just making noise through the woods, a lot of things break branches and kick leaves and, it's not to be said that something's not walking through the woods if they can't see you. They might come check it out anyways.
Absolutely. Johnny, your audio is getting rough. I don't know what's going on in the neighborhood watch there, but I don't know. Well, I guess it's a little bit better. I don't know what was going on there, but
The service out here for being in a suburban area isn't the greatest. It cuts in and out quite a bit.
Yeah. Awesome buck. Super happy for you. Appreciate you sharing the story. And I think Jimbo and I were talking about this yesterday morning on our Tuesday morning, actually every morning talk while we're driving to wherever we're headed, is that there is really something to be said for taking the history of what you know a stand or an area to produce and just pay attention to that. Like, you clearly have a spot there that produces in a certain time of the season, and we all have those spots, especially if you've been hunting for any period of time. You've got either trail camera data or physical experience in the stand, and don't ignore that. You know what an app tells you, or what some almanac tells you isn't your deer herd. That's a generic thing based off of factors that aren't your property or your tree stand in particular.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta wing it. I think Robert had said in the past, and this is coming from buddy that we all know is an experienced hunter. He said sometimes you just got to get to that stand on that day. The wind's not right, but the timing's right.
Mm-hmm. He's never told me that. He never let me go to any stands on the wrong wind.
Maybe I shouldn't have shared that with you.
Yeah, that's his secret. It's like, why is he hunting that stand right now? Well, it's because he owns a property, but maybe it's because he's got a theory.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it is. Good stuff, Johnny. We'll have to get together soon. It's been way too long. This last year has been just crazy, as for all of us. So it's I'm looking forward to Pennsylvania, spending a weekend in camp with you, and it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Way to feed him.
Yeah, good job, buddy. We're gonna drop you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, see ya. Go watch that neighborhood.
See ya.
So you bring up our morning conference call.
Yeah.
And how we were talking about the fact that we have absolutely nothing to go by on camera right now. And the following morning, we wake up to some wonderful things on trail camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just such a great time of year because we know, and it goes back to history. It's usually right around now, the middle of October. The cell cams are telling us everything that we've known is that the does just love our property. That's all we've been getting on camera basically since middle of August, really, right? I mean, we had those bucks during July.
End of July, the bucks dropped right off. We haven't had a buck on there since, really.
Yeah. Yeah, so then here we are. It's the middle of the month, and there he is.
Well, bam.
Fat Willie with a P.
And I don't know what you got on any of your other cameras, but a couple of other of my cameras have been blowing right up along with it in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the deer activities picked back up. It was kind of we had that. I mean, it's still pretty hot right now, but it was a little bit of a lull, it seemed, camera-wise last week. After we did the podcast and then in throughout the weekend, I didn't feel bad about my decision to not spend any time in the woods this weekend. But, it seems like, much more daylight activity and even having some bucks, on their feet around the area again. And we talked about this on our, one of our chats over the last week, just trying to, you're taking all this data, all this stuff you're seeing with your trail cams. We had with that warm temperatures, we had kind of an off wind. We had several days of an east, a lot of south, a little bit of north. Yep. So it kind of threw the deer, it appears, off of the pattern,
Yeah, and I was wondering what today was going to look like because it was the first west in a while, and a lot of things turned back on camera that I haven't seen in a bit. So, and there's also a couple of spots that I've had cameras that weren't really giving me anything, period. And in the last 24 hours have had mature bucks show up on them. So
it'd be nice to get out there and freshen up some of the scrapes with some of the buck fever stuff we've been using, and because I mean, we haven't put any of that stuff out. Well, you did not last weekend, the weekend before.
I did. Was it? Yeah, it was the weekend before.
It was the first weekend of archery. You were up there moving cameras and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But I know Dallas put a bunch of buck fever out last weekend, and he was going to go pull cameras tonight after his hunt. He was going to go after a buck he had seen on camera and then physically seen in person. He was going to go after him tonight. So didn't get a text, so I assume he didn't kill him. But hopefully maybe he had an interaction or he's got some good intel on camera to see what's going on there. But
yeah, I feel like we're right in that stretch of like the 12th to the 15th at camp where it starts to take off a little bit.
Yeah. So it's very exciting. I mean, this buck, that's a 10, right? I was trying to count the points in the picture.
It looks like he might have an 11 starting on the one side, but yeah, he's definitely a 5x5.
He's a big mature buck. I don't know if I can share my screen. Uncle Chris,
So
the answer to your question, Uncle Chris, is this is my new hunting hat. It's going to bring me good luck this year.
That's also not the other buck that I had on camera over the summer, which is probably equally impressive at this point because we probably didn't get pictures of his final growth.
Right. Yeah, that was
And
July.
I was looking at pictures of the two of them today comparing, and I mean, those two bucks are going to have a problem with each other if they're around during the rut.
Yeah, I would assume there'll be some broken tines or somebody won't be hanging around much longer.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the weekend. What's I mean, I know you said that things are up in the air a little bit. We've been battling health with our families. Everybody's been sick. So what's your weekend looking like here? I know you've been game planning this for almost a year now.
Yeah, so what it's looking like at the moment is we got my plan was to leave like half day on Friday and head up north. But it's looking like I'll probably stay home while she works on Friday because she's taking the last 3 days off. So I said I'd do Friday and we'd have dinner when she gets home. And as long as everything's good, as long as we're still healthy and he's healthy,
yeah,
I'll have everything packed up and I'll hit the road and be up there in time for a few beers before bed. And it's looking like the weather's a little questionable. It's showing like 60% chance of rain, but that's also going to be a 10 to 15 degree temperature drop from Friday to Saturday. So
nice.
I got to believe if we can catch, those quick breaks in the rain, it'd be times to be sitting in tree stands because I got to believe they're going to be moving.
Yeah. And what's your game plan? Are you going to, I mean, you've spent a little bit of time up there. Do you have an idea kind of where you want to hunt and what you're looking for? Or apples producing up there this year too?
We tried to do a food plot in the middle of the apples. The apples came in really good this year. And there's tall goldenrod kind of in a nice quarter acre inside the apples. And we've mowed a path straight through it. And I had a tree stand at the one end of it so I can look right down the path. And I've never had a ton of luck out of it. And, you check the trail cameras. Before we didn't have cellular, and now we do. And it's incredible that the amount of deer that are in there until we're in there. And I was actually in there setting a camera up on Sunday, I think it was. And Martha goes, look at the leaves swirling. And there was a ton of leaves dropping up there. And probably like 50 feet up in the air over this meadow, there was just a wind tunnel of leaves swirling. And I found that super interesting because I think that's why the deer love that area so much, is they can just wind check it from whichever direction they're coming in on. And they ain't coming in if you're in there. So I do have a tree stand over that meadow, and there's a lot of winter wheat and clover coming up. And I didn't think they were hitting it because our cell cam wasn't sending anything. Come to find out, the cell cam wasn't working. It was taking pictures but not sending them.
Nice.
And they were crushing that food plot just about every night.
Nice.
And then it switched to mornings coming into this weekend. So we know they're using it. We know they're there. All the apples, an abundance of food. The doe that I killed up there last year, I actually tried taking a different approach and hunting the crest above that apple orchard. And because I kind of know where they come in and out to it. So I'm going to probably start up there, I think. Although it's showing a south wind, and I think I might be able to get away with a south wind. I'm wondering if it's kind of like at camp, with the way that side hill faces, that it swirls it around. on a regular west. So I'm wondering on a south if it will push it in a consistent direction. So either way, the crest or right down in there with them, I'm going to try that. And obviously there's tons of state land to roam up there. So middle of the day, I might be doing a little still hunting, try to figure things out. I got a couple other spots in mind up there. So
nice. That's exciting. I hope you guys have a good hunt. I mean, you guys going to have a decent group in camp?
So it's me, Chris, David, Australian Paul, and Tim.
The Aussie's coming in.
The Aussie.
Nice.
Last time we had him in the camp, we hauled out a 425-pound bear. So
yeah, that's good luck.
Maybe we can make him do it again.
Yeah, I'm sure he would do that. I know he sounded like he had a great time with that experience.
Those kids are different breeds from over there. Those are men.
They are men. Yeah, makes you wonder. They got good-looking women over there too, I've heard, but that's just whatever.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I'm married. I'm happy. All I'm saying is I've heard people talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's that. We got that coming this weekend for you. I don't foresee any opportunity for myself to hunt this weekend again, but that's okay. I'm really looking towards the end of the month. I'm not even really sure what. I know I told Sarah I need to get out the weekend of the 24th. We don't really have much plan there, but it's really going to get hot and heavy for me. I'm laser focused on the end of October, so I'm really excited about it, quite honestly, because I know me and you for sure. We're trying to get a couple of our other buddies that have somewhat flexible work schedules and might be able to take some time off. To take off the 28th and 29th, which is a Thursday and Friday, and really go after it pretty hard at camp and see what we can do.
Yeah, I was looking at
hey, your mic, what are you doing to your microphone?
Is that better?
That's better. You were like wiggling it or something.
Yeah, I was playing with my microphone.
Your dongle?
Yeah. So I was talking about the next couple of weekends with Martha tonight, and it looks like that following weekend, the 23rd, going to do Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning at camp. So that'll really be the first hunts at camp for the season. And that should be when it's really starting to kick off some daylight movement. So looking forward to that weekend. And then the weekend that you were talking about, 28th, 29th, 30th. I'm going to spend the night up there Thursday, Friday for sure.
Yep.
Saturday, we probably got some Halloween shit going on, but I'm hoping, like you are, banking on those couple of days to get it done. So,
yeah, I got a lot of confidence in the fact that there has not been, and don't think there's really going to be a lot of pressure up there. I mean, everybody's busy. Dad's super busy with work. Uncle Mike's busy with work. Adam's, spreading his hunting pressure out, which is just great. Like, I think everybody's just kind of spreading the pressure out. We're not pounding an area like we have historically. And, you get freaking Joe out of there, cousin Joe, you get him out of there, and, and he's up not freaking shooting everything that walks by. I mean, the deer should be very calm and relaxed, Ooh, Uncle Chris is calling in.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's get him on here. Sergeant Harvey.
There he is.
Reporting for duty. How we doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You guys are doing great.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. Your family, you have to say that.
Yeah.
So you're bringing your dog for your duck call, or just your duck call, or what?
No, I'm just bringing my duck call and my shotgun, because duck season is open up north there, and over on that state land there is that duck pond.
Yeah.
So I'm going to check it out. I mean, obviously, deer hunting is the primary sport, but I am getting into bird hunting, and if I can get a duck over there, and I also saw some other wetland areas on that same state land I'm going to check out. If it's rainy out, it can't hurt to check it out.
You think Paul'll swim for him, or?
Yeah. You know what? He's a tough guy. He probably will hop right in there.
Yeah, we weren't kidding when we said he's tough. I wouldn't want to mess with that big. He's a big son of a bitch. So what, did Jimmy get it wrong? Did he say Australia, or did you said it?
Australian.
Yeah, I was laughing. You guys said Australian, but he's really from Austria.
Same fucking thing.
Like way different, but the same. Yeah. Oh,
Same thing, just completely different.
yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, I'm excited about this weekend. I think I actually have not hunted much. I've only been out for one hunt this year so far, a bow hunt, and everything's been busy. It's early still. I was in Boston all last weekend, so I did not get a chance to hunt, but it's been fun.
Looks like you guys had a good time out there.
Yeah, we did, and I'm starting my retirement, so I've got the entire month of November off. So I'm going to be hunting a lot in November.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So when does that vacation start?
November 1st.
November 1st. On the tail end. I was hoping I was just gonna say we should get you to come up and spend a couple of days with us up at camp, but there'll be a bunch of that during gun season.
Yeah. Well, I can get up there. I know you guys go towards the end of October. And I was looking at the rut calendar. It should be good hunting during that time frame too. So yeah, I may get up to the cabin the end of October, join you guys for a little archery.
Yeah, be a good time. How's Joe doing? Did you get to see him recently? I feel like, did you see him this past weekend?
Yeah. Joe was he was in Boston Friday night and Saturday. He had duty Sunday, so he had to leave Sunday or Saturday night. But he's doing good. He's passed all most of his tests. I think he's like ranked number 3 or 4 in his class. And big news, I'll share it on the podcast. He is going to be stationed in Norfolk in Virginia after this.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's good. Not too far from home.
No, it's about an 8 or 9 hour drive. So he graduates November 19th, and then he'll probably come home for 10 days leave. So he'll be with us during some of the deer season.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm excited to see
them left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to contain him. His thirst for shooting deer is not at all.
You probably really don't even need to shoot anything. He'll come home for 10 days and fill your freezer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you just focus on that duck meat.
Put medicine in there.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah,
that kid's been unleashed the last few years.
Yes,
yeah, well, remember last year before he shipped out for the Navy, he went out his first weekend and got his first buck with a bow, so that was nice.
Yeah, that's right. He was on the first episode of Breedinum Radio last year. I was looking back in the archives.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah,
he came on from the hotel room when he was getting ready to head off to whatever that is that he was going to do.
The boot camp. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was October 7th last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he shot a doe. He got 2 deer in the first week of season. He shot his buck, and then he went out with his buddies here in Lima, and he shot a doe. And it was a classic moment. They put the doe on top of his buddy's car and drove it over here. And of course, the car's all bloody, and they're cutting up the deer right in our garage. So it's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Memories, making memories.
So are we going to do a podcast at muzzleloader camp this weekend up north?
I believe we're planning on it as long as Billy can get the stuff to me.
Yep. I'm gonna bring all the equipment and a little bit better setup than what you guys had last year. Jimmy will have the 4 headsets and the recorder and everything. So yeah, you guys will be set up, wired for sound, as they say.
Well, that'll be good. I'm looking forward to it, and I give a shout out to Huntworks. I did put together my tree stand tonight. I won that tree stand at the Pertinier at the beer release.
Yeah.
So I finally got a chance to mess with it. I got 20 feet of climbing sticks, and I got that nice Millennium tree stand from Huntworks. So I'm bringing that up with me. I got my climber, but if I find a good spot, I'd like to try this new stand out.
Yeah.
Did you get the M50 or the M60 with that?
I got the M50.
I'll have to show you the M60.
Yeah, is that the lighter weight version or the bigger one?
Yeah, that thing is slick.
Those
Well, I'm
Dunnigans.
looking forward to trying out these blinds that your dad keeps buying.
I know we all
I
are.
got one set up just right now. I think if I give that till October 28th, I think I might be camped up in there with a sleeping bag and Maybe a case of bush lattes and just wait for them to wander through.
Yeah. Cut a drain hole in the bottom so you can just pee out.
Your dad's like, yeah, Jimmy moved that blind, so I went ahead and bought another one.
Dad's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, those blinds are beautiful. It's just going to be so nice to have. You know, I mean, they're going to last forever. It's just wild how, you know, even just these ground blinds that we built, that was just stunning to me to see how time wears on things. That blind of Grandpa's, I mean, it's nothing left there. There's no sign of it.
No,
you know?
you can't even tell there was a blind there.
No, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and you know, eventually I'd like to purchase one for our farmland in Lima.
For sure.
Because I'll be honest, you know, not like Naples, but when you're hunting the farmland, you're subject to the wind.
Right.
And there's a lot of times I get pushed out of the tree stand because of the harsh conditions or the wind. It's just too cold. I can't take it.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to have a spot I could hunt all day.
And you're getting old. It's just hard on you, you know.
And I'm getting old. It's a little tougher to sit in these cheap tree stands when it's, you know, 20 degrees out and wind's blowing and, you know, by 9 or 9
Hunt over and
yeah,
at that end.
yeah, it's way easier to hunt inside of a nice padded blind where you can just tip over against the wall and just suck your thumb when you're hunting over, you know.
Exactly. So yeah, I admire your dad purchasing those, and I look
Me
forward
too,
to trying
really
to get them out.
yeah.
Us as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to try those out. I got a little thing. I don't know if you guys have seen these before. They're called licking sticks. They got it's a base that's like spring loaded that you stake into the ground, and you put you cut down a sapling and put it in there, and
Really?
It's called a
and then
hodag,
put
right? The hodag.
a hodag, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got one that I bought, and then one and two that are homemade, which are very similar to the one that I bought. But I'm gonna try to get all those out this week or this weekend, and get them going here and get some cell cams on them because I'm interested in that theory. We got the food plots at camp, and I think if you put one of them things out in the middle of it, it's just going to be too enticing for them to not go mess with it. So
We should put make sure when you do that, Jim, make sure you put beech. See if you can cut beech down. Get a beech, a beech sapling or something instead of something that the leaves are going to fall right off it.
right.
That was something that Teeters talked about. I know that's something that Steve Shirk talks about too, is trying to get
Nice.
something like that with leaves. Yeah.
We got a couple nice little beach patches up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I've had cameras up all year on my land, and then they all seem to shit the bed towards right when season kicks in. I've only got one camera out there now, but it's a traditional camera, and my spy point is not working for some reason. I got to figure out, the batteries died on it, and now it won't seem to transmit pictures. So I got to work on my spy point, and my other camera died, but I still got one out there, and I did get pictures of a real nice buck. I don't know, probably about 3 weeks ago. I mean, like a nice 10 point. So it's a beautiful deer, a big deer. So, you know, we got some nice ones on my land.
Seems like they just keep getting bigger and bigger, you know?
They do. My land in Lima is really starting to produce. And, you know, Tim shot Hercules, and last year we saw some big ones, and there's really only 3 of us now that hunt out there, and we're all very selective, and I think it's starting to pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's been happening at camp over like the last 10 years slowly. There's the occasional small buck that gets taken, but for the most part, 2.5 or better. And then, the 2.5s you don't kill are making it to 3.5. The 3.5 you don't kill are making it to 4.5s. And we're having some super nice deer show up the last 3-4 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys are having great deer up there, and I think, we're seeing the same thing. And, you keep Joe out of Naples there, and the small bucks are safe.
I don't know. I think he'll mature a little bit. He was in that state, like Dad and I were talking today. It's like, they're in stage 1, and you got to start somewhere, and you gotta get those kills under your belt and learn how to do it. And Joe Joe got that done in his first few years. That's for sure.
Oh, I don't know. I bet you anything if he comes back and has 10 days, he ain't holding back on shit.
Yeah, whatever.
No, but he did. You're right, and I mean, we joke about it, but I could care less if somebody, shoots a small buck, because especially a younger hunter, they have to learn how to get the job done. They have to learn about shot placement. You have to shoot some animals to be proficient at it. And I did it for years. I used to shoot the first buck with a bow that came within yardage, and that was a good shot. And, I used to get a buck every year, and now that I'm more selective, I don't get as many bucks with my bow because I wait and wait. But, I shot a doe last year just to stay proficient with my bow. But a lot of times you forget about that. You let too many go, and you still got to kill some deer.
Still got to fill the freezer.
For sure.
Yep.
Loins are great.
And shoot freaking does. I get into these conversations with people. I got into a conversation in the camo section at Cabela's the other day with a close talker, and this guy, I'm like, bro, we're in the middle of a freaking pandemic, and he's just like, I'm just watching slow motion, this spit just flying out of his mouth, and but he's like, yeah, my freaking neighbors, he lives up in Niagara County apparently. He told me exactly where he lives. Apparently, I know where he lives now, but he's like, yeah, I went out for the early season there in September. He's like, I walked out first sit, shot a doe. He's like, it's like taking candy from a baby. The neighbors don't shoot does. And it's like, there's just so many people out there that still think that not shooting does is going to help your deer herd. And it's just not true. It's been proven over and over and over again. So it's like, get out there. If you want to fill your freezer with a doe. And if you want to shoot a small buck, who gives a hell? But I mean, you can really achieve this stuff pretty quick on your property in a matter of 3 or 4 years if you're just being kind of selective about what you're taking. We're seeing it on every piece of property that we're hunting. All of us, we're all seeing it. So you just gotta give it time. Let a couple of those young ones go, and if you want to fill the freezer, fill them with the flatheads. And
the freezer queens are great.
Oh, freezer queens! Every year it's a new nickname.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
No.
To get those bigger bucks. Really, just a couple of years of being selective is a huge difference.
Yep.
We just got a pro tip from Daniel Dunnigan, and just we were talking about HuntWorks earlier, and we didn't think he was anywhere to be found tonight. And you look at this; it's 9:50 at night. He's watching the podcast, seeing if anybody needs any tree stands or ground blinds. I mean, these guys are hard-working son of a bitches.
Those Dunnigans, some hard-working son of bitches.
Here's his tip right here. He said, any flatheads within 35 yards, he said, a dead doe is a great deer attractant. So shoot him and keep sitting there.
It's hard to argue that. Trigger had one he shot a doe opening day of gun season and had a spike horn that came by and tried to breed her for like an hour straight. So yeah, you never know what's going to happen if you put one on the ground there. It's just the HuntWorks, They were just, if it wasn't for them, this organization would just be, I don't know where we'd be. We've actually, I was thinking about this today. We've actually supported, I think we're the ones keeping them in business, the other way around. And I hope you understand that, Dan. I mean, if it wasn't for my father and everybody else, I don't know. I know you guys say you're just can't keep stuff on the shelves, but you might just be heading to Harvey Deer Camp in Naples. I don't know.
Yeah,
or,
we need to send your dad over there again.
Yep.
I got 2 of them hanging on the wall behind me here, and I haven't even put them out in a tree yet. But hey, they're gotta have them.
Gotta have them. Yep. Prices are going up. Supply chain shortages. You get it. You gotta buy it now. You gotta do it.
Yeah, I think there's a whole one of those ships sitting off the California coast has tree stands on it. So you better buy them now.
It's full of bank blinds.
Yeah, exactly. And Millennium tree stands.
Makes me want to go buy another one, for Christ's sakes.
Listen, guys, I'm gonna let you go. It's getting kind of late, but nice talking with you. And Jimbo, I'll see you this weekend.
Sounds good.
See ya.
Look forward to it.
Thanks for calling in.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Good job.
All right, we I suppose we're near the end here. We're approaching 10 o'clock, so and we're it's about that time. So what do you think? Any closing thoughts, Jim?
I think keep an eye on what's going on. I think it's going to start turning on more and more here. We're coming into the good days. Start watching the fronts, watching the wins, knowing what's happened in the past, and make time available to go after it.
Yep. I like it. I like it a lot. So this is a fun episode. It was nice having a few people call in. It was nice getting a couple stories, and appreciate everybody who tuned in. And we'll be back next week, and hope we've got some stories from the Adirondack muzzleloader hunt. So good luck this weekend, everybody.
Ready to let the smoke right out on them.
Oh, just let the lead out.
I can just see just a nice drizzle, cold drizzle, smoke letting off the end of the barrel. Oh, can't wait.
Yep. All right.
Dreams are made of.
Yeah. Good luck. I'll get the podcast equipment out to you either tomorrow or Friday. So
Roger that. I probably won't be leaving until Friday evening, so you ain't got to rush it.
Sounds good.
All righty.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend. Good luck, and keep fading them.
Breeding them.
Those Dunnigans are hardworking some bitches.
Sons of bitches.